Hello, this is Stargore. This is my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus. Welcome to it. The design direction of my vision of Classic Plus is substantially different from that of retail WoW circa Shadowlands and the private servers Vanilla Plus Internal WoW. This is partially because this aims to fix Vanilla WoW's many problems first, flood shadow polish again second, and add new content third. Partially because this is part of a playlist of videos. Check this video's description for a link to the I forgot to scroll down. For a link to the playlist. The document displayed is my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus, and the document's version number is 1.5.15. All versions of the document are based upon patch 1.12.2 of World of Warcraft. If you just want to know about the general design direction of my vision of Classic Plus before you otherwise look into this, then watch the introductory video in this playlist, or read the document yourself and look at the list of major changes. Major features. The list of major features. The link to the document is in my channel's About page. That, and I do not have a team of people or however working with me to make an actual private server out of this. This is all pure design thus far, and it ain't done yet. These display changes made to Naxxramas do not concern what drops from Naxxramas, nor changes the NPC hit points. Do I have the right stream title? Hold on. Yes I do. Yes I do. Good. Oh wait, damn, I don't. Oh wait, yeah, I do. Okay, good. Whew. These display changes made to Naxxramas do not concern what drops from Naxxramas, nor changes the NPC hit points, NPC damage, or NPC pathfinding. Those are covered in different parts of this document that I will be covering in different videos. However, it is still worth briefly mentioning that elite NPCs in general, and not just in raids, are going to hit a lot harder and have a lot more hit points. Zero tanks that are not druids will need to actually use shields, or else they will get randomly one-shotted from full hit points by a crit, even with defensive best and slot forever gear and full buffs, world buffs, and consumables, including the Flask of Insurmountable Vitality, formerly named Flask of the Titans. In this case, world buffs means, well, not world buffs means, but do also know that in this document, world buffs were dramatically nerfed, and you don't actually, and raids are designed around needing all those buffs and shit like that, except the non-portable world buffs. You don't need any of those. Anyway, as I mentioned in this video for General Dungeon and Raid, as I mentioned in the video for General Dungeon and Raid changes, I plan to eventually revamp all the raid mobs and whichever raid mobs to generally have different mechanics. Now then, onto the changes made, what did I just make instead of made, to Naxxramas. Naxxramas Nax will require having room for 2 raid lockouts to enter. Do note that in the General Dungeons and Raids video, do note that in the video for General Dungeon and Raid changes, I denoted that players will have access to a limited number 2 of raid lockouts per week. Naxxramas will require having room for 2 raid lockouts to enter, and being saved to this raid will prevent you from being saved to all other 40-man raids that are not Elixir's Lair for 2 weeks instead of the standard 1 week, and the raid will reset every 2 weeks instead of every week. Do note that Naxxramas affords about 4 times as much loot per clear as other 40-man raids do, because I'm changing it to make that be so. Killing a mob in any of the 4 quarters of Naxxramas will begin a 12-hour timer that applies to that quarter. Failing to kill every boss of that quarter before time is up will result in that quarter being flooded with trash mobs, making it be basically impossible to finish that quarter at reset. An absurd amount of trash mobs. Aggroing Saffron will begin an 8-hour timer. Failing to kill Kel'Thuzad and Saffron within those 8 hours will cause all of Naxxramas to be flooded with trash mobs, making it basically impossible to finish Naxxramas at reset. Plague's Deathhounds will be reclassified as demons. Darkhounds are not beasts. Thematically, they are not beasts. Upon attempting to loot a frozen rune in Naxxramas, you will be prevented from attacking, casting spells, using abilities, using pop-up windows such as summoning confirmations, and moving for 30 seconds, and every mob within a 100-yard radius will be instantly teleported to your location and gain plus 2,000% movement speed. Looting frozen runes takes 30 seconds to do, cannot be done in combat, and it can't be done in combat. This is done to prevent rogues and druids from solo farming frozen runes. All Naxxramas trash mobs will, in addition to their normal loot tables, have a chance to drop an appropriate Scourge Stone, like from fucking Scholomance and Stratholm, upon death if an Argent non-commission or such trinket is equipped. Design note, I still have to do something to make healers either near your commissions or equivalents to somehow make a healer version of Steel Rune to Dawn and their epic versions. Otherwise, I'm going to have to design the entire raid around healers not getting to grab Scourge Stones. Anyway, next change. In order to make Crash Epics from Naxxramas be as hard as they ought to be to get your hands on, Infectious Schools will be given a 40-yard instant cast ability called Plague Spit, which deals a very large amount of nature damage and infects you with a stacking disease that deals a lot of nature damage every 2 seconds. They will only use this ability when they go for more than 5 seconds without swinging at a humanoid in melee combat. Of course, swinging means melee attack, attempted melee attack. Also, Plague Slimes will just no longer drop trash items, period. Patchwork will no longer target people based on their maximum hit points. Based on their current hit points. He will instead only target people based on their threats. As for his Hateful Strikes, however, that will target the guy with second most threat in melee range, and then the guy with third most threat in melee range, and then the guy with fourth most threat in melee range, and then it will repeat that chain. Yeah, and then it will repeat that indefinitely. I forgot that meant somehow. And now I remembered. Anyway, if no fourth target is available, it'll alternate between the guy of the second most threat in melee range and the guy with the third most threat in melee range. And if no third target is available either, then it'll only hit the guy with the second most threat. And if no second target is available either, then it'll randomly hit any available target. The Death Knight Understudy's Taunts ability will function as it had in patch 1.12.2. You are expected to use the understudies to tank other understudies and to keep the understudies alive by healing them. Stoneskin Gargoyles will be renamed to Infected Stoneskin Gargoyle. Said gargoyles keep the abilities and statistics and locations such they had in vanilla, and will also be granted a 10-second AoE stun ability, 100-yard range, and a 100% chance of successful melee hit, not from the AoE stun, to infect its primary target with a disease whose tooltip reads and functions as such. A deadly disease made specifically for humanoids, this disease will inflict 2,000 nature damage per 2 seconds to humanoids. I need water. Water. 2 humanoids and slow their attack and casting speeds by 50% per stack, and after 4 seconds or 2 stacks, turn you into a frenzied skeleton if you're humanoid. Non-humanoids can carry and spread this via melee attacks for 30 seconds without ill effects, giving them separate debuff. This disease's 85% spell resistance, and its being dispelled will not turn a frenzied skeleton into a player. Said frenzied skeleton will not be controlled by the player. It will attack very fast for standard raid mob damage per hit. It will be untauntable. It will have no aggro table. It will be hostile. It will switch targets every 8 to 12 seconds at random, or after the current target dies, that happens first, and it will be a carrier of the aforementioned disease, which it can be cleansed of. This is here to force the raids to bring a bear druid to Naxxramas. Wait, which can't be cleansed of. When the fuck did I write that? They're hostiles. You can't cleanse it from hostiles. Anyway, this here is to force raids to bring a bear druid to Naxxramas. Furthermore, all trash packs Naxxramas that include an infected Stoneskin Gargoyle will never include more than one infected Stoneskin Gargoyle, because you're not expected to have more than one druid tank per raid. Including off tanks. Anyway. Well, actually, no, you are expected to have a cat druid in every raid, and he can kind of off tank as a bear. But anyway, yeah, you're still there's one infected Stoneskin Gargoyle per pack that has one. Anyway, Fugan and Stalag will reset their aggro tables when their tanks get knocked into the other boss's platform. I forgot why I wrote that there. I probably had a pretty good reason for it. Grand Widow Fairlina will be given an instant cast ability called Curse of Defenselessness, which will only be used on her current target. This curse will reduce your block, dodge, and parry chances by 100% and decrease your defense skill by 100 for 2 minutes, so you'll be able to get critted. It'll be recasted every 3 seconds, except while she channels Rain of Fire, and the spell will instantly deal 3,000 shadow damage to the victim of the curse, who probably is not the Dispeller. So the main tank will not want to drink a restorative potion, and nobody will want to dispel the curse until after the fight is ended, which means that you will bring a druid to the raid as a main tank. Especially since all raid IDs are only allowed to have up to 47 player saves to it. And somebody might have to leave and be replaced by somebody else. Grand Widow Fairlina's Enrage will boost her attack speed by 50% instead of by 75% to make it more possible for Bear Druids to tank her. The safe spot for Hygen the Unclean Stance will be removed from the game. I forget. I never actually looked into where exactly. Actually, I think I did see exactly where it was at some point, but I forgot. Anyway. Lotheb's Corrupted Mind spell will also affect Seal of Light, Hand of Light, Judgment of Light, Healing Stream Totem, and Vampiric Embrace for their respective classes. Mayexna will have a 100% chance on melee hit to inflict her victim with a debuff called Webbed Hands, which prevents you from unequipping your gear and using all items for 5 minutes. This will serve to prevent warrior tanks, and especially shaman tanks, from swapping out their shield until she is about to use Web Wrap. Prop Paladins wouldn't do it anyway because her shield is kind of part of their stretch generation. A substantial part of it. Anyway, Gluff's Decimate will only have a special radius of his room. His entire fucking room. And upon being engaged, all players in the instance will be teleported into his room, and nobody will be allowed in or out of the raid ID until he leaves combat. This will prevent exploits that involve using Gluff's Decimate ability to help the raid kill bosses such as the Four Horsemen. Other bosses, yeah. Kel'Thuzad will reset as soon as any player or NPC goes past the encounter door. That is a change that was made for Vanilla Classic. When Phase 3 of the Kel'Thuzad encounter begins, the first time during that raid reset, and not on other attempts, an extra Guardian of Icecrown will spawn that Kel'Thuzad will immediately cast, and on the spell will crowd control immunity spell on, and that Guardian will run up to Kel'Thuzad, take the Book of Medivh from him via emote, and then immediately leave for Icecrown Glacier with the book to take it to the Lich King. The yelling that signifies the beginning of Phase 3 will be modified accordingly, but only for the first time per reset that you get him to Phase 3. Thematically, according to the lore, Kel'Thuzad has the Book of Medivh, yet the player characters do not actually get to loot from him. This gives me a thematic excuse for the players not being able to loot the Book of Medivh from Kel'Thuzad. I'm going to be making changes to the Oh, by the way, I might actually add a legendary offhand frill to the game. That would be the Book of Medivh, but you know, I just thought of this. Maybe there could be some sort of idea that the Book of Medivh would just be too corrupted by Kel'Thuzad to use as is, and you would have to do some sort of legendary quest chain to cleanse it first. I'll get around to doing that later, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to be making changes to the Four Horsemen encounter to enable it to be done with 4 tanks and to be doable with pre-1.10 taunt. By the way, taunt and growl, the warrior spell, well, warrior ability, and the bear druid ability are going to work as they had before patch 1.11, which means that they're going to work like Mocking Blow and Challenging Shout and Challenging Roar. It's not going to generate actual threat. So yeah, the Four Horsemen encounter is going to be changed to enable it to be done with 4 tanks instead of 6 of them, and to be doable free 1.10 taunt. Add special boss mechanics. Taunt, Mocking Blow, Challenging Shout, Growl Druid, and the Challenging Roar move, and the Shaman's Taunt, whatever the fuck I'm going to call it, and the Paladin's Taunt, whatever the fuck I'm going to call it. No, I do not mean Blessing and Protection, that's a different spell. Those will never be resisted by the Four Horsemen, and will otherwise behave versus the Four Horsemen, as Taunt did in patch 1.12.2, and Taunts will not have dimension returns against them in particular. You're not going to need to have Nat Pagel's Broken Fishing Reel. The four horsemen will all have 0% dodge chance. Exactly 0. When the four horsemen cast their marks, and anybody who has more than 7,000 maximum hit points avoids receiving all four marks that time, each horseman, spirits included, will instantly deal 5,000 fire, holy, or shadow damage, 20,000 combined raw damage to those people, and all within a radius of 10 yards of them. Design note, I forgot why this part is here. It's been a very long time since I wrote it. But it's probably there to prevent some sort of exploits. High Lord Mogren and Thane Korthos, when they are disarmed, will not do anything other than using shield wall at their health breakpoints until they cease to be disarmed. That is, they're just going to sit there and do nothing until they get disarmed, except shield wall. If they would use their raid nuking ability that they use with known as a melee range if they weren't disarmed at the time, and then the disarm ends, then they'll immediately use the raid nuking ability 10 times in a row, regardless of all other circumstances barring their deaths, and any marks that they castle disarmed will instead be cast at the first available opportunity, potentially causing one or both of them to instantly cast multiple marks. Furthermore, disarms will not have diminishing returns against its two horsemen. The spell, Soulfire, will never be resisted by Sir Zealek, and for 10 seconds, it'll partially free Sir Zealek from the grasp of Kel'Thuzad by burning the part of Kel'Thuzad's will that seeks to control Sir Zealek, which will weaken Kel'Thuzad's grasp upon Sir Zealek. You know, upon third thought, in hindsight, going back to this, maybe I should have let him use his marks and his raid nuking ability while he's disarmed. Yeah, I'm probably going to make that change. And marks and his anti-exploit raid nuking abilities. There. Enabled the four horsemen to use their mark and raid nuking anti-exploit raid nuking abilities while disarmed or CC'd by Holy Fire or Soul Fire. Shield wall, marks, and what the hell is it called? Is anti-exploit raid nuking ability. Yeah, so after you cast Soulfire on Sir Zealek, Kel'Thuzad is going to lose his control over him. While Kel'Thuzad tries to regain control over him, he retains. Yeah. Anyway, the boss is going to retain his aggro table after this happens to him, but casting Soulfire in this manner will cause Kel'Thuzad to put to cast his Soulfire spell on cooldown for an extra minute after it's casted. And any marks that Sir Zealek would have casted, I'm deleting that part. The spell Holy Fire will never be resisted by Lady Blamo, and will cause her to reel in pain, causing the priest to gain an extra 500 aggro. Hold on, I got some Yeah. It's going to cause the priest to get an extra 500 aggro before town plus effects and prevent her from doing everything underneath and shield wall marks and its rate nuking ability. What? It's supposed to be 50. I don't know what the fuck button I just hit. Anti-exploit raid nuking ability. For a duration it is a spell. However, upon casting Holy Fire on her, Kelsey's will put it on cooldown for 2 minutes. And furthermore, any mark that she would cast under the effects of while under the effects of Holy Fire will instead be casted after Holy Fire ends, potentially causing her to cast. Alright, I forgot to lean that part. Yeah, Kelsey's will put Holy Fire on cooldown for 2 minutes after you cast it. On her. But only if you cast it on her. And then Soulfire will be put on cooldown for 2 minutes after you cast it on Sir Zelik. Sir Zelik and Lady Blambo will have the cooldowns of their Holy Wrath and Void Zone ability reduced by 3 seconds. And their melee attacks will hit 25% harder. This one's tentative. Forgot to mention that part. At the start of the 4 Horsemen encounter, Sir Zelik will, if applicable, within a split-second window, defiantly buff the 2 Paladins Shamans who have the highest maximum hit points within 100 yards at the time of being pulled, with a blessing called Blessing of Speed, which will increase the run speed of which will increase their run speed by 40% for 20 minutes. And can be dispelled, though no dispel mechanics exist for that boss fight. Everybody will be put in combat when this is casted, so don't try leaving the place with the buff or however the fuck. It's probably not going to work out so well for you. Because if I recall correctly, this is a pretty long fight. Anyway, yeah. That's all my changes I got so far to make Naxxramas. And thanks for watching.